Why there, hello everyone. If you're returning, welcome back, and if you are new, hello. My name is Steel Savage, and today I'll be talking about my opinions and thoughts on the DX King-Ohger toy line. Not the full first quarter, but just what we have for now. So for those unaware, King-Ohger is the 47th Super Sentai series, which is going to start on March 5th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. JST. So over the past week, some change, we have actually gotten some official toy pictures of the first initial wave of stuff, aka the stuff coming out in March. So I just want to give my overall thoughts on the entire toy line thus far, what I think about everything, how it functions, how it looks, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So on to the rest of the video. So first off, we're going to start with the deluxe OhgerCalibur, which is the main transformation device and main sidearm of our 5 King-Ohgers. We haven't had a sword transformation device since the Ninja back in 2015. I mean, well, a main transformation device as a sword, not like a 6-range or anything, but like a main team transformation device as a sword. Last time was the Ninja back in 2015. And for the most part, I think the sword's pretty cool looking. I said that back when the poster came out. However, I'm not really sure about how it functions. So the way the sword functions, as many fans on Twitter have jokingly said, the sword is basically a bop it. You have levers and switches that you use to change between your different King-Ohgers. And like I said, overall I like the design. I really like how the handle actually looks wooden. It almost makes it feel like it's a simple sword turned into something technological rather than the usual Toku sword, which, you know, they look obviously like plastic and technology. So like I said, the wooden handle really just helps it seem like an actual sword turned into something technological, is all I'm saying. But moving on to the way it functions, which is the part where I'm not exactly too sure how I feel about it, but we'll get to it. So basically, I already talked about switches, but the blade itself actually lights up into 7 different colors. Now, the colors seem to be red, blue, yellow, purple, white, green, and maybe pink? Question mark on that. But 6 of those colors are 100% the case. But the way it functions kind of confuses me. So, to transform, right? And this is the only part where I'm like, huh? It seems like they make you actually use every single switch to transform into a King-Ohger, which would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that the sword does know the difference between each King-Ohger. So if you want to transform into Kuwagata-Ohger, you specifically use the Kuwagata switch, right? But then the sword makes you do the other switches just for the sword to say at the end, Kuwagata-Ohger, or if you use Kamakiri's switch, Kamakiri-Ohger. It just seems like a lot of extra stuff for something that doesn't really seem all that important. Like, and hopefully, because they did have a video where they showcased how it works, hopefully they just did that for the sake of the video instead of it being what you have to do. Because if it's what you have to do, it seems like a lot of extra steps that are there for no reason other than, hey, use all the switches to see how they work. And it's like, just have us press the switch like once and then transform. But other than that, the way it functions is fine. And so after the transformation, you have the actual finisher, which is the Ohger finish, which happens when you hold down the trigger on the handle, obviously, and then you have to pull your respective switch of the Ohger you're transformed into 1 to 3 times. Now, they skipped straight to the 3rd level, but I'd imagine level 1 and 2 have like different finisher attacks. But again, when you pull a certain switch 3 separate times, you get the Ohger finish. And then the final bit is actually summoning the Shugods and combining them into the King-Ohger robot. Now, the Shugods are the Mecha of the year, and as we know from official stuff, they're deities that the King-Ohgers are linked to. And how they summon them is very simple. To activate the Shugod summoning in the combination, you actually need to pull on the Kuwagata lever, and you have to hold it down until it says Shugod. At that point, to summon other Shugods, you just pull the individual switches, and then to combine them, you actually, you do the same thing. You do the Shugod announcement, and then you actually pull the trigger, and that, starts up the transformation standby. And at that point, you can then pull the trigger again to get the announcement for the King-Ohger robot. So like I said, I like the sword overall. I I'm just not sure how I feel about the transformation. I hope you don't have to do all 5 switches, but you know, we'll see what happens. So next up is the King-Ohger's main sidearm, which is called the King's Weapon. It is a golden, silver, black, gray, and red shield that also has different modes. Now, unlike the OhgerCalibur and the mechs, we don't have a vid showcasing the shield and stuff yet. In fact, most of the stuff doesn't have a video yet, so I can't really get into how it functions per se, but I can give you the basics. So for example, with the King's Weapon here, like I said, it has a shield mode that is shared by all King-Ohgers, and then it has 5 additional modes that are specific to a certain King-Ohger. So for Ohger, his weapon is the King's Weapon in sword mode. For Ohger, he has the King's Weapon in gun mode. Kamakiri has scythe or sickle mode, whichever one. Papillon has bow mode, and then Ohger has claw mode. And then if you transform the King's Weapon into sword mode and then attach it to the bottom of the OhgerCalibur, you actually get Naginata mode. So yeah, that's how that works. And the main attack announcement for the King's Weapon seems to be the Ohger Slash. But yeah, that's basically all we know about that. Following that, we actually have the King's Hotline and Ohger Holder Set, which is our belt for the season. Now, Sentai usually does have a belt, and usually the belt holds a collectible item. However, King-Ohger doesn't have one, ergo the belt doesn't need to hold a collectible item, but it does hold the sword. And outside, that's basically all it does. Like, there's no, like, the King's Hotline, which is the buckle of the belt, it's a phone, but unlike most Toku phones, it's not made functional. Like, what I mean is, like, most Toku phones, for example, in Yeats we had the spider phone, and usually the phone items usually do have a couple sounds, you know, just to give some incentive to get in it. But with the belt, it's a piece of plastic with a phone screen attached. There's no buttons that we know of, and basically if you take it, you're just using it for the sake of trying to be accurate. There's nothing more to it, but it holds the sword. So if you, for any reason, you decide, hey, I want something to hold the OhgerCalibur, you can get the belt. You know, just remember, these toys are made for kids, so you have to find a way to extend the belt straps. Now you can buy those 3 items together, or you can buy them together. You can either buy those 3 items separately, there we go, or you can buy them together in something called the King-Ohger Complete Set, which is a set containing the OhgerCalibur, the King's Weapon, and the King Hotline, and the Ohger Holder. Yeah, and that is like, it's just a set. So if you want them all, it's gonna be, you know, more pricey, obviously, but if you want them all at one time, you don't want to buy them separately, you can buy that set and then you have everything. Next up, we're moving on into the figure line of the King-Ohger series, and we have it in 2 lines. We have the Action Hero line, which is our main action figure line, which takes over from the Change Hero series line from Zenkaiser and Dawn Brothers, and we also have the, you know, Sentai Hero series line, which is just vinyl figures of our individual Rangers. So starting with the Action Heroes line, we have actually 5 different releases. First up, there's the Action Hero Kuwagata Ohger and King Speeder set. Now, Kuwagata Ohger, like I said, is our Red Ranger. He's based on a Stag Beetle, and, you know, it's just an action figure of him. Like, there's nothing more to it. But he also has the incentive coming with his bike, which is this hovercraft item with like 2 Stag Beetle pincers on the front. So it kind of looks similar to like Gatak's bike. I don't know what it's called, but Gatak's bike from Kabuto, but yeah. Next after that is the Action Heroes Tombo Ohger figure, which is just a figure of Tombo Ohger, our Blue Ranger. He's based on a dragonfly. Then you have the Action Heroes Kamakiri Ohger figure, which is our Yellow Ranger, and she's based on a praying mantis. But after Kamakiri is Papillon Ohger, who's our Purple Ranger. Like I said, the first ever time we've had a Purple Ranger in the main team. So far, they've only been auxiliary Rangers or whatnot, but this is the first one in the main team. But yeah, so they're based on a butterfly. And then after that, you have Hachi Ohger, which is the Black Ranger of the team, and he's based on a bee. So yeah, so that's it. That's the Action Heroes line. It's just the 4 action figures and then an action figure with a motorcycle. That's it. And after that, of course, you have, like I said, the Sentai Hero series line, which are vinyl figures. You have one for each King-Ohger, and that's the figure line. Yeah. So So next up will be the Mecha, and that's when we'll kind of wrap things up. So starting off the Mecha line, we actually have our first like official look as the toy form of the King-Ohger, which, you know, that shares a name with the team. So it's been theorized that the name of the team will be they'll more so be referred to as the Osama Sentai, and then the robot will be the King-Ohger. But anyway, so the King-Ohger mech is made up of 10 different insects. What did I just say? Insects. Which is, you know, that's new for Sentai to have a main mech be 10 different mecha combined rather than just the usual 5 or 3 that match the number of rangers you have in the main team. So the King-Ohger mech is comprised of 10 different Shugods, which are the mech, like I said earlier, the mech of the series. 5 Shugods, which are referred to as King Shugods, which are connected to a specific King-Ohger, and then you have 5 other Shugods, which are known as sub-Shugods, who are just, you know, independent Shugods, essentially. So the King-Ohger mech is made up of God Kuwagata, God Tombo, God Kamakiri, God Papillion, God Hachi, God Tentoes. It's Tento, but 10 toes because there's 2 of them. God Kumos, 2 spiders, and then God Ant. Kuwagata makes up most of the body. Papillon makes up the head and the hilt of the sword. Tombo makes up the wings and the blade of the sword. Kamakiri and Hachi make up the legs. The Tento Shugods make up the gauntlets, I guess you could say. The Kumo Shugods make up the crotch and chest plate of King-Ohger, and then God Ant is just on the sword. There's nothing more to him so far, anyway. So yeah, so overall, my thoughts on everything thus far actually is that everything it looks good. Like, nothing looks bad. The only thing so far that I'm iffy on, of course, is how the transformation with the OhgerCalibur works. But it could just be a case of, you know, you can do one switch at a time. It's just for the sake of the video, they did all 5 together. But again, that's the only part where I'm like iffy on. Spoiler for the rest of the video, but that's the only part I'm iffy on. But yeah, I like the King-Ohger robot. It's cool. It's cool. But then we have auxiliary mechs, which our first one being the DX God Kabuto, which is a Kabuto machine, or a Japanese a Japanese rhinoceros beetle. And it turns into a giant cannon for the mech. And that's basically it. Like, it's a giant cannon. Like, there's no more to it. And then if you want both mechs, or all 11 mechs actually, together in one set, and you want to get the God Kabuto mech early, you can buy the the deluxe King-Ohger God Kabuto set, which comes with the King-Ohger set and then God Kabuto attached onto it. And of course, just like with the King-Ohger Complete Set, that's going to cost you more money. But if you don't want to wait for God Kabuto, well, you do what you got to do. And that's it, Bear King-Ohger, the toy line so far. And like I said, overall, I like everything shown here. Nothing looks bad. Everything looks like it's well designed. And I'm just excited to see King-Ohger finally premiere on March 5th, JST. But for me, it's going to be March 4th at night. But I'm ready. Like, I'm excited. That's it. That's the video. All right. So if you like this video, I appreciate it. If you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on my social medias, mainly Twitter. Even if I tweet on there a little too much, Twitter is where you can find me most of the time. I don't really use Instagram for real. And Twitch, there's nothing on there, so there's no real point. I mean, you can go follow me on Twitch if you want, but I'm just saying, I'm not gonna do any like streams or anything over there. But anyway, that's it. So all right, peace.